Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome officially to the channel. This is, as you know from the intro series, where I go into odd game accessories or peripherals that developers made to get us more into the game mentally or physically. Today I want to go into a lesser known system. That's right, I said system, which is kind of a first for the Oddities series, but this was too interesting not to cover and too sparse on information to do the full treatment like the TurboGrafx. So, today we're going to talk about the XaviXPort, which was a rather unique system with a focus that was just as unique. So sit back and hang out a while as I tell you about a console that did a lot of things that we all attribute to the Wii. This console was reportedly developed by 8 engineers who worked on the original Nintendo Entertainment System console. Their story started in 1995 with Nintendo hitting the first of many rough patches, being surrounded by multiple consoles with more advanced technology than their own. Katsuya Nakagawa decided to leave the company and start his own company, with the aforementioned engineers, calling it SSD Company Limited. They had the idea of utilizing specialty digital technology to benefit society as a whole. One of their directions in this was starting to further pioneer motion controls, doing several projects that wouldn't really go under their name, with the most popular being Kenshin Dragon Quest, a TV game, where you'd use a sword and shield to fight off, Dragon Quest monsters, which ended up selling over 500,000 units on its own, even having a successful sequel that would come out on the Wii. You might know it as Dragon Quest Swords. Bolstered by this success, they decided to continue pioneering with the idea of not competing against current-gen hardware, but to focus on delivering a more unique experience. Sounds a lot like another console. To that end, they began working on releasing their own full-fledged console. The console itself actually had a fairly interesting design, not in aesthetics, but in hardware design. You see, the processor wasn't in the console. It was in the individual carts. In fact, they used the same processor that was in the original Nintendo Entertainment System. The advantage to this processor could be that it could be upgraded during the lifespan of the console, with some of the carts actually going on to use a 16-bit processor. Again, the same one that Nintendo used, just this time the one that was in the Super Nintendo. I know what you're asking though. What was this console like? You said it was like the Wii, but you haven't really talked about how to interface with it. Well, that's the interesting part. Most of these games were based on sports games, and based solely on motion controls, with each game coming with its own set of controllers or control scheme. That's right. This console didn't use any standard controller. Each one was tailored to the specific game it came with the intent of, getting players more active, kinda like the Wii. What makes this even more interesting is it came out before the Wii, a full 2 years before the Wii, to be exact. Now, how this did motion controls is, a bit of a mystery to me, to be honest. I know the Wii used IR sensors, 2 of them on a bar that you could position to make the motion sensing more tailored to your actual play space. This seemed to have the console itself, and whatever controller you were using at the time. I can only imagine that there was an IR blaster in the controller, and a sensor on the console itself, and maybe some kind of gyroscope, similar to the Wii and how it registered its positioning, because for all my digging, I couldn't find any real complaints on the system in this manner. In fact, I could find very little on it at all other than the fact that it exists, predating the Wii and examples of some of the games, making this Oddity a bit of a black hole of sorts. What I do know is it launched in 2004, at the price of $79.99, with the individual games costing around $49.99, which honestly is kind of a deal, because the fact that the controllers came with each game, and you had the cart and the processor, made it a pretty decent price. And it might have started to take off had they been a bit more well known or had a bit better marketing. But 2 years after they launched, the Wii dropped. With almost identical messaging and using a more universal controller, they could be fitted into plastic housings to make you feel like you were using a similar control layout to the XaviXPort. Now, it's unknown if they saw this coming and decided to cut the XaviXPort down before they could really gain some traction, or if it was just one of those ideas that was sort of bound to happen as so many people were trying to find ways of doing the exact same thing and just came to a similar conclusion. In the end, the XaviXPort just couldn't compete with something like the Wii. It was simply more flexible and had more marketing behind it. And by 2013, its social media shut down. By 2017, it would be completely discontinued, having released just around 23 games in total. However, what do you guys think of the XaviXPort? How many of you have played it? How well did the motion controls work for you? Let me know in the comments. For now though, thank you so much for watching and spending part of your day with me. If I could ask you for one more favor, please leave this video a like. And if you haven't, consider subscribing. It really does help me out. However, until next time, have a great rest of your day and happy gaming.